Okay, so this is going to be our first sewing project we're going to do together. It's going to be super basic. It might be scary because we're going to get into some zippers, but firstly, this is what we're going to make. Just a nice little maybe makeup bag, travel bag, toiletries bag. It's got a zipper up top, and it's going to be lined. This is made from corduroy pants. It has an extra pocket. We're not going to do that. We're simply just going to make a nice flat little pouch that is lined. Now for my materials, I have an iron over here. I have a measuring device. You could use a ruler. This is just a yardstick I found at the thrift store. Got some quilting clips, something to mark the measurements with and whatnot. Got our zipper. The zipper I found at the thrift store. I like to look through vests. Sometimes vests have like a metric a lot of zippers on them, various lengths and sizes. So I found a vest for like $5 and pulled like 6 or 7 zippers off of it. Thrifts have a lot of zippers on their garments if you find the right thing for very cheap, cheaper than buying them new at a fabric store or craft store. Got our scissors, obviously. And then for making bags, I really like using pillow shams or pillowcases. There is a abundance of them at the thrift store with a lot of cool material in and of itself. And they always have the sham part where you put the pillow in, which is great for our liner. So first and foremost, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out around the sides and try to make this a little bit flatter and then reassess. Looking at this and the length of our zipper is slightly shorter than the original one. So after looking at it, I'm going to make it a 7, and I want to make it a little bit shorter than this one. So I think I'm going to do a 7 by 9. So I'm going to cut out 2 7 by 9s on the outside and 2 7 by 9s with my liner. I will get more into that. But first, let's just cut this up and see what material we're working with. Okay, and I just cut around the outside to open up our material or separate them. Here is what will be our outside material, nice and clean. And then here is the back side of that pillow sham, which will be our liner. So what I'm going to do, looking at the length of my zipper, which is going to be 7 inches, and then I want it to be 9 inches, and with seam allowance it'll go down to about 8.5. So I'm going to cut out 2 7 by 9s from the outside material and 2 7 by 9s from the inside material. Let's do it. Okay, and here we have a 7 by 9, 2 for the outside and 2 for the inside. Now, I forgot to mention this is just a cork board. I really like using it because I can cut on the ground, keep things flat, and I can iron on it. Just a personal thing I figured out I liked. So next what we're going to do is we're going to take our zipper, and there's a top side of the zipper, side with the actual tab on it, and the back side of the zipper. We want the outside facing out, and we want the inside facing on the inside of our bag, obviously. Now, what's important to keep in mind, and I will explain this now, and I might try to explain it a few times, but there's the right side and the wrong side of a material. This isn't the best example, but as you can see, this is the more presentable side. This is the right side, or the outside that I want facing out. This side is a little less presentable, a little bit darker. I don't like it as much. So this is our right side. This is our wrong side. Sometimes you'll have a material such as like this, which it's far more easy to differentiate. This is the right side, obviously. This is the wrong side because there's no pattern to it. So this is what I mean by right side, wrong side. This will be important for when we put our zippers together. So let me break that down real quick. So here we have the right side of our zipper and the wrong side. We want the liner to be on the wrong side and we want our outside material to be on the outside of the zipper. Now when we're sewing, we want the seams to be hidden. We want them on the inside of everything. So we're going to sew everything inside out. So what that means is I'm going to take my material. This is my right side. Right side will be facing down on the zipper. So when we sew it and open it up, we're going to have a nice flat seam with the right side of our material showing. But first we want to add our liner as well. So we're going to sandwich the zipper between our two materials. So I have my liner, right sides facing each other, because when we have this sewn on and this sewn on, it's going to open up like this, and this is going to come through on the back, and we want the right sides facing each other. We want the right side of the material to be showing on the inside of the bag. So again, we take our right side up, put down our zipper, and right side down. We are sandwiching the right sides together. Oh no, now I'm getting confused. Which is the right and wrong? This is the right side. So here you can see we have a sandwich of our liner on the back side of the zipper, our zipper, and then our material right sides facing each other, the sides we want to be showing. So here, sandwiched with that guy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my trusty little quilting clips, and I'm just going to clip this into place. Again, sandwiching our zipper in the middle, right sides facing each other, sides we want showing. Now I have them nice and clipped. I know this is daunting. It might take a few times to help you visualize it, but it will make sense, I promise. Oops. Okay, now we have everything lined up. Looks nice, and we're going to head over to our sewing machine. Okay, now we are ready to sew. Oh, excuse me. Sorry if that was really loud. We are ready to sew our zipper onto our material with our sandwich we created and everything. First, what we want to do is we're going to get rid of this foot, and we're going to add a zipper foot. This is going to give us a far better reach with our needle to get as close as we want to our actual zipper head. So I'm going to snap this guy on. I have it onto the left side because I'm going to be sewing on that side. And we are going to get ready to sew our zipper on. So I'm just making sure everything's nice and lined up. We have everything together, and we can start our stitching. Where's my foot? There it is. Again, we're doing that back stitch at the start, and we can start our stitching. I would recommend starting slow, whatever you're comfortable with. And just go nice and straight, nice and easy. Now, once we get towards our zipper head, it's going to get bulky, it's going to get weird. Your machine's going to try to fight it. So what you want to do is stop, take your foot off the presser foot, lift it up, and we're going to pivot a little bit, and we are going to take our zipper and just unzip it so it is sitting behind our needle instead of in front of it. This might take a little bit of finesse, trying to figure out the right angle in which you can actually pass the zipper, but eventually, with a little encouragement, should be able to get it. Sometimes it likes to get jammed, I guess. Let's see what we got going on. There we go. Now we have our zipper unzipped past our spot we were sewing. I'm going to unzip it just a little more. And we can get back to our stitching. Again, just making sure we have everything nice and lined up the way we like it. And a back stitch at the end. So here was our problem. Our zipper kept wanting to get stuck in our lining. There we go. All right, now that we have that completed, our next step is we can flip it open. We're going to put the liner and our outside stitches together. And since we're sewing on this side, I'm just going to unzip it. Man, this liner really wants to get stuck. There we are. So now we have it laid open, and I'm going to come back over it, and I'm going to top stitch it. Now looking at what we're doing over here, I'm going to want to switch it to the other side to give me better access. And I'm just going to scoot it over. I'm going to try to get a close-up shot for you here so you can see a little better. Okay, so this is what we're working with. We've got our needle right here. It's going to go on this side with our zipper. And what I have done is I have folded the liner open as well as the top open. And you can press it if you want to, but we're just going to go on the top and do a nice top stitch, which will hold all of this out of the way. Now again, we're going to have our zipper want to get in the way. So what we're going to do is stop, lift our presser foot, zip it closed, and come right on back and keep stitching. Back stitch at the end. And now we have a nice pretty top stitch, and our liner is pinched out of the way so we won't have anything get stuck. Now I will show you. We're going to do the exact same thing with the other side. Let's get into it. So now that we have this all settled, what we're going to do is we want to maintain having the outside be the outside and the inside be the inside. We are still going to sandwich it. So again, taking our inside, right side facing up, or correct side facing up, going to take that edge, and line it up with the edge we've done on the other side. And again, right side, or the correct side I want showing, it's going face down. We are sandwiching all that good stuff in the middle. Next, I'm going to clip it up. Maybe. There we go. And I'm just going to clip all of this together, just like we did with the other one. Right there. Right there. Right there. And we are just running along our edge, making sure everything's nice and lined up so it doesn't get all wonky on us when we want to sew. And we can go back over to our sewing machine and do what we did to the other side. This is what we should be looking at. If you would like to, can snip off the little excess danglies. Get them out of the way, keep everything nice and clean. And it should be looking something like this. We have our liner on one side, have our outside on the other, zipper in the middle. And our next step is we're going to sandwich. And first of all, we want to unzip our zipper a little bit. We're going to take the right sides like so, and the liner like so. And as you can see, this is our open side. What we want to do is put our zipper facing in on the outside, if that makes sense. So when we Here, I'll do a close-up. So we have our two sides with our zippers. They could face like this, or they could face like that. We want them facing inwards, because when we have our everything sewn together, it'll hide the zipper. If we sew it like this, when we flip it outwards, it's going to be sticking out. So we're going to take that, sandwich them together, and clip all the way around on both sides. Okay, and here's what we're looking at. We have everything pinned or clipped together. Our zipper is unzipped in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to sew a rectangle around this, but we're going to leave about maybe a 4-inch gap. So we're going to start here, sew all the way around, come over here, and we're going to stop and leave about a 4-inch gap on the liner side of the bag. So I'm going to hop over on the machine and sew that, and I'll show you why we're going to leave that gap. Okay, and this is what we should be looking at. We have sewn around all of our edges, and we have left that gap. It's not exactly 4 inches, but it's enough, and you'll see what I mean. Now what you can do is with these corners, we're going to flip everything right side out. So you can just snip off that little bit of excess material, and that will help us push those corners out nice and cleanly. So now this is the best part. We are going to take everything and just stuff it through that little hole that we made. This may take a little bit of pushing and squeezing and wiggling, but eventually what we'll be able to do is pull everything right side out. And this is why we left our zipper open, because we need to unzip it and get to the correct side of everything. Just pulling it out through that little hole. And again, this is going to take a little bit of patience. And this is what we should be looking at. We have that hole still, and with our fingers in there, we can push out the corners of all of my hand in that hole we made, and I'm working those corners out, kind of wiggling them, pushing them out, and this is what we should be left with. We still have this gap. What we can do is, it's already wanting to fold itself in right there, but all we're going to do is sew that little gap closed with a nice little top stitch real quick. Alright, and now that we have that done, you can hand stitch it closed and do like an invisible stitch, but all we need to do now is push our liner in and check out what we made. We've got a little zip close right here, and again pushing those corners out nicely, and I'll snip off the little excess. Once we have our corners pushed out and everything, we have a simple makeup bag. You have used a zipper for the first time, and it's nice and lined. There is our first follow along sewing lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you're a little less scared of these nice little zippers. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. But for now, get some practice on your zippers. This inside and outside, right side and wrong side will heavily translate over to actually sewing our garments and clothing and pretty much everything. So I always, when I very first started, I only did bags, and I think it translated very well into clothing. But here's your first little makeup bag that we made. You can make it yourself now, and have a great day, guys.